At my dear alma mater, Yale, Yale is offering a new course, Beyonce Makes History. The course it gets better. Beyonce Makes History, Black Radical Tradition, Culture, Theory, and Politics Through Music. This is a class that will focus on the period of Beyonce's 2013 self-titled album through this year's Cowboy Carter. So it's not even all of Beyonce's career. We're so specialized in the universities now. It's only the last decade of Beyonce's career. It will be taught by Yale's African-American Studies professor, here we go, Daphne Brooks, who is going to include footage of live performances for students to learn about Black intellectuals from Frederick Douglass. Okay, Frederick Douglass is good. To Toni Morrison. Oh, good grief. Good grief. Toni Morrison. Do we really need to read Toni Morrison? Okay. Now, it's funny to say Beyonce makes history. Beyonce did not make history. Beyonce did try to intervene in this political race. She endorsed Kamala, and Kamala lost. So she failed to make history, at least this time around. This is proof of something else. We talk about the cracking of authority and credibility of previously elite institutions, the New York Times, the Associated Press, the Democratic Party. Well, you got to throw Yale in there too. I say this as someone who I love my alma mater. I don't know if some of the people at my alma mater might not love me anymore, but I love my alma mater. Very grateful for everything Yale's done for me. However, this is a reminder that these elite schools are now, the value that they actually do bring, or the merit that they do convey, is really more just about getting in. It's not really about graduating. It's really easy to graduate these schools. It is still hard to get in, unless you can say that you're a Native American Zoroastrian, which will give you a leg up. But barring that, you still need usually a high SAT score, and you have to be valedictorian or something like that. But it's hard to get in, very easy to graduate. So you don't necessarily learn all that much. You could take a class on Beyonce's radical tradition, culture, and theory. The institutions, like Yale, like Harvard, like Princeton, the institutions like the AP, the New York Times, they are losing their credibility. They can still claim to maybe have a little bit, but I don't know. How much longer can these institutions maintain their prestige and their influence before reality catches up with them? Go to coign.com. The fight to take our country back does not stop at Election Day. That's just the beginning. We can get in the fight right now with Coin, the conservatives' credit card. Find out more at coign.com. Instead of funneling millions to the libs like other credit cards, Coin advances conservative values, causes, and charities. Imagine the satisfaction of earning cashback rewards while fighting the liberal agenda. That's the power of Coin. Coin works everywhere Visa is accepted, comes with a 100% US-based customer service guarantee, and consumer protections. Not to mention, it is a great-looking credit card you will take pride in using. It's bright red with We the People on the front. A lot of people, they don't want to give their money to the woke lib corporations, but then they'll use a credit card. They'll use it for multiple transactions every single day, and they're funneling money to those lib corporations, and those corporations are then sending money to liberal nonprofits. How about you switch that up and use the conservative card for your purchases, coign.com. Join the wait list. Be sure to select Daily Wire in the How Did You Hear About Us section. Terms apply. Go to coin.com/disclosures for full details. There's a story really hit me yesterday in the Wall Street Journal. 2 days ago, it hit me, actually. It's called These Baby-Chasing Grandparents Are Turbocharging Demographic Shifts. From Austin, Texas to Charleston, South Carolina, golf and grandbabies beckon. The story is that millennials are leaving the coastal cities. They're leaving the liberal states, and they're moving to places, like Nashville, where I live. They're moving to Texas. They're moving to South Carolina or Florida. They're moving there because it's a lot easier to raise a family. It's much less expensive. Taxes are much lower. The people are more normal. You can send your kids to normal schools. It's really great. Highly recommended. If you're conservative, if you're libs, stay in California. I don't want to hear it. You stay there. You screw up your own politics. I don't need that in my state. But a lot of people are doing that. And then what this article is about is that those millennials' parents are following them to the southern suburbs. And they're doing it in no small part to raise their kids. So just a little bit from the article. It all started in the 1960s when baby boomers became the first generation to routinely move hundreds of miles for school or work. So it started with the boomers. Previously, people generally stayed in their towns. Maybe you'd go west, young man, but that was the exception, not the rule. Boomers were the first that said, okay, we're going to go far away for school. We're going to go move far away from our families and our communities. We're going to get things moving. Nashville, Tennessee-based Kinloch Partners, which rents out homes near large corporate offices in the Southeast, estimates that the retired parents of newly transferred executives live in and around 10% of them. They have a guaranteed income. They don't trash the house, says Chief Executive Bruce McNailage. Some pay a year of rent up front. So these are great tenants. They move down. They're retired. They have steady, reliable income. They don't have much to do. Jillian Held and her husband Jordan employ a nanny 3 days a week. Her parents take Tuesdays and Wednesdays, staying overnight at the couple's home, where they have their own bedroom. We fully talk to them like they're employees, said Jillian, 32. It's an ongoing joke that when they want to go on vacation, they have to take PTO. Ha ha ha. So, and I know people who do this, where the grandparents essentially raise the kids. And why are they doing that? This is the question that the article is not asking, because the answer is a little too politically incorrect. In some ways, it's really nice that the families are ending up together. The extended families across the generations are ending up together. Used to be, you were born in a town, you lived in that town, you died in that town. So maybe you'd have intergenerational housing, but you'd at least be near grandma and grandpa. And now kids don't really grow up near grandma and grandpa. So the way to fix that today is not that the kids move back to the parents' house. It's that the parents follow the kids and they raise the grandkids. Okay. In some ways, that's nice. The families are ending up together. But it is a little weird, isn't it? Especially when you factor in there's this real practical aspect to it, which is that the millennial kids need the parents, the grandparents, to raise the grandkids. Why is that? In part, it's because childcare is so expensive these days. Okay, well, what does that even mean, that childcare is so expensive? It means that people go out and pay someone else to raise their kids for most of the day, much of the day. Why do they do that? This is the part that even the Wall Street Journal article, which is quite good, I encourage you to read it, that they won't mention because it's politically incorrect. All of this is happening because women feel obligated to work outside of the home. Women always have worked, but now they feel obligated to work outside of the home. It's not just because women have the option to work outside of the home. The reason that the childcare is so expensive and they need grandma and grandpa to come down to raise the kids a couple days a week is because they have financial problems. They have financial problems because they require, at least in their minds, 2 incomes. It is not that women now have the opportunity on occasion to go out there and work outside of the home. It's that women, by and large, feel obligated to do so, which was the heart of the debate between feminist Betty Friedan and feminist Simone de Beauvoir. Feminist Betty Friedan said women should have the option to work outside the home if they want, but they should have the option to raise their families if they want, to be homemakers. And Simone de Beauvoir said no. Women cannot have the option to stay home and be homemakers and raise their kids, because if they have that option, too many of them will take it. And the women, therefore, will not be liberated as the feminists wanted them to. And that's what you're seeing here. Wouldn't it be so much easier, though? Think about how this is now. Many, many women wish that they could stay home, at least when their kids are little, and raise their kids. Many, many women wish that they didn't have to wake up every 45 minutes at night with the little baby and then go into the office the next day. Many, many women, but they just feel that they can't do that. They don't get enough maternity leave and it's just too hard. So now we have a system where for many people, you say, my wife has to go out and work for some other guy so that this other guy can give her a paycheck that she will give to me so that I can either hire some other woman to raise my kids for me, or when that's not enough, so that we can ask our retired parents to move down to where we are, to uproot their lives, to move to where we are, to raise the children for us, which is, I guess, marginally better than paying someone else, a daycare worker or someone, to raise your kids for you. But it still seems pretty inefficient, doesn't it? What would happen if we just allowed women to raise their own kids again? I guess that might affect GDP. You'd have fewer economic transactions. But it seems simpler and probably better for the kid. But we don't permit that. Because the culture tells women, you have to go out, you have to have a job, you have to be totally independent of a man, you have to prioritize your career, you should put off getting married, you should put off having kids. This is another issue, is now women aren't having kids in their early 20s, they're having kids in their early 30s or mid 30s or even later. So they're mid-career, they're working. It's even hard even if they are staying home. So then they need the extra help from the grandparents moving in. It's just so inefficient. It's so discombobulated. But that's what's happened. And this is not just a problem of the left. The left has pushed this through feminism, but it's also a problem of the financial right, the right that is disconnected from morality and traditional behaviors. This kind of joke that the couple has with the parents in this article, where they say, yeah, we treat them like employees. We say if they want to take vacation, they need to take PTO. There's a little truth to that joke. We treat all of these relationships as though they're purely financial, transactional. That you can swap out a mother raising a kid for an employee raising a kid or a grandparent raising a kid. Just seems a little inefficient to me. Entirely caused by a demand that we now make of women that they work outside the home. That was good. Now ring that bell, subscribe to the Michael Knowles YouTube channel, and we will see you next time.